And here's something you might want to take a look at here. A report came out earlier this morning, and it is interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. And oh yeah, by the way, let me address this narrative that's being thrown out there, and I don't like it. I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't like it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning. Hope all of you having a great Friday. Hope all of you had a great week. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. It goes without being said, there's a lot going on in the college football world. More importantly, there's a lot going on in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Alabama has more than a huge dilemma on their hands currently. They are trying to replace the greatest head coach of all time. This isn't your everyday ordinary task. You're not replacing a coach who won just one championship or two or three or four or five. You're replacing a head coach who won 6 national championships at Alabama and 7 in total. There's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on, and let me catch you up on what has transpired in the past 24 hours. Yesterday morning, we uploaded a video where I stated, according to my sources, it looks like Dan Lanning's the guy. That's what I was told. It's what I full-on expected. I wouldn't have made a video about it if I didn't expect it to happen. But that's also why I stated in that video I'm 99% sure it's going to happen. Notice I didn't say 100%. You always got to leave room for the craziness and the unexpected to happen, and that's exactly what happened. Dan Lanning turned down the Alabama job. Nobody saw that coming. From what I was told and all the people I talked to, it went a little something like this. Your first phone call is obvious, Kirby Smart. You know he's going to say no, but it doesn't hurt to reach out. Once Kirby Smart says no, you then call up Steve Sarkisian. And you automatically assume that Sarkisian is going to say no for logical reasons. Sarkisian is already at one of the biggest brands of all college football, and the last thing he wants to do, or a lot of people want to do, is follow in Nick Saban's footsteps and shadows. You got to think about this. For the next, until you find another Nick Saban, the head coach of Alabama is going to be in Saban's shadows. So that's a problem right there. And to make a long story short, Sarkisian says no. Then you start heading to your real deal targets where you start to feel like, okay, this guy's going to say yes. And the first on that list was Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning coming to Alabama makes a lot of sense. Nick Saban has stated multiple times, even before this head coaching search, that he likes him. Dan Lanning is familiar with Alabama. He's familiar with the Southeast, and he's a heck of a recruiter. It lined up perfectly. Although it didn't come to fruition here, let's not try to act like it didn't make a ton of sense. It was extremely close to happening, and I'm sure Dan Lanning weighed his options, but he decided to stay in Eugene, Oregon, and I don't blame him. It was one of those situations where you couldn't go wrong either one. Staying at Oregon, that's a win in my book, and also going to Alabama, that's also a win. He winds up posting this huge long video on social media announcing he's staying, and that's how you know it was close, because if he didn't even think about the job, he wouldn't have posted that. So with Dan Lanning yesterday declining the job, we're now at the time frame of yesterday around 4 to 5 p.m. Or not even 4 to 5 p.m., more so of like, I'd say 1, 2 p.m. There we go. And I'll give you all a little perspective here and some context on the behind the scenes for me myself. When the news came out that Lanning was not going to take the job, I thought my phone was going to blow up. It was haywire, and the only other time I've seen my phone get that many notifications is, ironically enough, when Saban retired. But there's no reason to talk about, oh, well, why wouldn't Dan Lanning come? No. Here's what I was trying to get to the bottom of. Who's next? Who's the new guy? And from everybody I've talked to since yesterday, and trust me, your boy Matt has been working hard in the MBG sweatshop, there's one name that comes to mind first. And some of you may know who I'm about to say next. Kalen DeBoer, the head coach of Washington. And I do want to throw this in there before I go any farther because I might forget. Outside of that, I have no idea what's going to happen. And even with Kalen DeBoer being the, I guess you shall say, the quote-unquote leading candidate at this point in time, I still don't know. For example, yesterday I was telling you guys, hey, I'm putting my money on Dan Lanning. 99% sure it's Dan Lanning. No, I can't even say that with Kalen DeBoer because I don't know what percentage I would give y'all. Here's the newest new updates right now. I don't know, and I don't think anybody really knows. If I had to guess, I mean, I'm throwing a dart here with my eyes blindfolded. I would say Kalen DeBoer, but I'm like on a scale of 1 to 100 percentage-wise, I'm about 7% confident in that. So not very good at all. Whereas yesterday, I was extremely confident in Dan Lanning, or yesterday morning. And here's the thing I need to throw in there too. Greg Byrne, the athletic director at Alabama, he's notorious for being very good at hiding who he's going to hire next. I'll give you an example. I'm a big Alabama basketball fan, by the way. Well, nobody knew that Greg Byrne was going to hire Nate Oates, the great basketball coach we have, until the day or till the moment he hired him. And I'm also going to throw this in there, although Nate Oates is very popular now in Tuscaloosa, when Greg Byrne hired him, he wasn't too popular. He was the head coach at Buffalo. That's something for your train of thought. Greg Byrne is not afraid of going after somebody that everybody's not accustomed to and even really knows too much. And you got to think about it. He went after Nate Oates. He was all the way up in Buffalo. He brought him to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So the Kalen DeBoer one from Washington doesn't sound too outlandish at this point in time. And here's something you might want to take a look at here. A report came out earlier this morning, and it is interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. Mr. Kalen DeBoer was scheduled to make an appearance in studio with a radio show in Seattle. Well, guess what? That radio show announced that Coach Kalen DeBoer will not be making it. Granted, this could be for numerous different reasons, and I've seen this being thrown out there. It's being stated that Kalen DeBoer is more than likely meeting with the athletic director of Washington, not Alabama. But you can't deny the fact it's interesting, and most definitely, you know what's going on here. He's either weighing out his options, he's talking about leaving, but it has something to do with Alabama more than likely. And you want to know what I really think about all this? I don't know, okay? I don't know. And when I say I don't know, let me clarify. I'm talking about I don't know on what's going to happen next. I don't know who's going to be the new head coach. If you have any ideas or just any opinions, feel free to drop them down below because I'm curious. The past 36 hours, or really I'd say 42 hours as an Alabama fan, has felt like 200 hours. It feels so weird and it feels like everything's happening so slowly, but in reality it's not. I will say though, I am shocked that we didn't get a head coaching announcement yesterday. That did shock me, but maybe that's me being a little naive because that would have been quick. And oh yeah, by the way, let me address this narrative that's being thrown out there, and I don't like it. I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't like it. Ever since Nick Saban has retired, I've seen so many people say, oh, this Alabama job's terrible. Why would anyone want to take this job? Not because Alabama's not a good job, but they're just saying that because following in Nick Saban's footsteps, shadows, whatever you want to call it, that's just bad and you don't want to do it. There's too much pressure. Everybody's saying it doesn't matter how successful you are and how many games you win. Everybody's going to compare you to Nick Saban, and that's just a terrible position to be in. You can win 2 championships, and people are still going to be mad and upset that, oh, you're not Nick Saban. You're not the chosen one. You're not the GOAT. I think you get the point. People are labeling the Alabama job as quote-unquote bad for that reason. Well, I don't like that, and you want to know why? Because I think that is loser mentality. You could say that, oh, you might not want to take the job for that, and that's fine. But saying it's a bad job just because of that, no, that is ludicrous, and that's ridiculous. And also, like I said, it's loser mentality and thinking. If you have a great opportunity ahead of you and there's a lot of pressure to it and you say, I don't want to take that opportunity because there's too much pressure and people are going to compare me to the guy who did it before me. No, that's just being a loser. That's being a weenie. I can't get over that and I had to speak on that. And maybe y'all feel differently. Let me know your thoughts on that as well. I think you got to be a straight up weenie hut loser to look at the Alabama job and get scared of it. To me, and maybe this is just, I don't know, the competitor and a winner in me. And yeah, I'm going to come out and say it. I'm a winner. The winner in me and the optimistic version of me is looking at it like, dude, this would be a heck of a job. This would be the greatest thing ever. I'd have Nick Saban basically mentoring me if I need any help. I got all the resources in the world. I got one of the best athletic facilities out there, one of the best fan bases, more importantly, all the 4- and 5-star recruits in my backyard. I look at it and say, hey, let's go. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, but I love it. Pressure's a privilege. But people that don't have that competitor in them, that dog in them, whatever you want to call it, they don't view it that way. They view it as, oh my gosh, if I don't perform well, I'm going to get criticized and they're going to fire me and it's going to be bad. You see what I'm saying? If you have that mentality, you have already lost. Look, man, I can go on and on, but I did want to address that all these people saying it's a bad job. No, if you think it's a bad job just due to the fact there's high standards, you're a loser. I need to calm down, Let me know your thoughts down below about that. Robert!